All right, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing out here on a fantastic Falcon Sunday? As finally we've passed Thanksgiving, we've passed Christmas, we've gone into the new year, celebrated all of the holidays up through the summer, had Labor Day, and now we are in the throes of fall. And the Atlanta Falcons, for the first time since November of 2020, have posted a victory. Thank you. Thank you again to the hapless New York Giants for giving us that opportunity to sneak that win out. And I'm telling you, it's amazing to me to see how different it makes you feel when you get that win. I know everyone is excited and ready to talk about this wins, but folks, before I even begin, let's give a good shout out to that defense, man. That defense, I tell you what, I give them credit. They played a really good game, and let's face it, yeah, the New York Giants are in trouble. The New York Giants are in big trouble. That was not a good team over there. And they kind of were in the same boat as we were when you start talking about, there are just so many things going on with that franchise right now. We are, thank goodness, we had the effort enough to beat them. I'm not going to lie to you. When they went in for that last touchdown, it looked kind of bad. It looked like we were not going to have the opportunity to come back. But thank goodness they had the fortitude to come back and do what they do. Man, look, Matt Ryan, give him credit. Give him credit where credit is due, y'all. Hold on one second. Let me turn on this volume. There we go. Give him credit where credit is due. When it was time for him to revert back to old-time Matty Ice, he came through, gave us the win. Good shot. Good job for the Falcons this week as they do pull out the victory, 17-14. Well, there are a lot of things we're going to have to clean up. Absolutely. Folks, this is not a pretty game. If you wanted pretty football with some great plays and things like that, this was probably not the game. But just a couple of stars right off the bat coming on. Cordero Patterson, again, showing his flexibility, showing that he was a good last-second pickup. Remember, we didn't have Cordero at the very beginning. We ended up picking him off the scrap heap, and he turned out to be really good for us. And I'm just happy that he's on our team. And I'm just telling you, folks, that was woo. I shouldn't struggle through that bad of a game. I really shouldn't. But I am more than happy that we can finally talk about a win this week instead of a loss. Finally, what what's going on, man? Said finally won. That's all we needed. We needed one. We had to get one. I see you over there, my buddy Jason. I appreciate it. Don't appreciate that loss y'all pinned on us, but I see you, brother. Yeah, about time we got that win in there. A couple of y'all I can't see name-wise on here, but yes, Victory Stogie coming out. Absolutely. Glenn Small says there is a God. Oh, man. John Harris says the defense needs the game ball for a hell of an effort they gave the offense. Google lots of time to win in spite of numerous offensive screw-ups. And I'm going to get to that. I'm somebody that's not going to sit here and try to pretend like the grass is all green and everything is hunky-dory, because there were opportunities in this game way before 2 seconds left, and our Pro Bowl kicker, Younghoe Koo, slapped the thing in there. We got a long way to go. Q says, we got the W, still not seeing greatness. I like Patterson. Defense held it down. Great job to our Pro Bowler, Younghoe. I mean, dude, at this point, Q, you almost have to take it for what it is, man. These guys right now, I think they're going to struggle. this year. I think they're going to struggle. I know they're going to struggle a lot this year. This offense still doesn't seem to be putting it all together at the same time. But listen, a win is a win. You got to start somewhere. I'd rather be 1-2 than 0-3. Jimmy said, guess it's a win, but I want more. Absolutely. I'll give some credit today because I thought this would be one of those breakout games. Sometimes we have a tendency to let the lesser quarterbacks have breakout games. And yes, Daniel Jones had moments, but he didn't have it where he absolutely just dominated and took over the game and was able to, just make it look too easy against our defense. Our defense held their own in this game. Just a good shot. Jimmy said Justin Tucker just set a record 66-yard to win the game. And I'm going to tell you what, they struggled. What was that, Detroit? Yeah, you have no business struggling against Detroit if you're a Baltimore team that's supposed to be one of the upper echelon teams. Now, I know the first month of the year, because we've been struggling, look, we'll take any win we can get right now. So I'm not going to complain about that, but geez, we really need to. Yeah, this is one of those that you go back, you hang up on the wall and say it's a win, but later on you say, hey, we got a lot of work to do. Charles comes on. How you doing, Charles? Charles says, ugly win. Offense needs major work. Offense needs some serious work. I am so glad we got a chance to get those 2 plays from Patterson and Kyle Pitts. Yes, a Kyle Pitts sighting today. A couple of good passes, one on 3rd down, and then the last one, where he was able to get, I think, 26 yards down the field. Good chance from him to, again, show flashes. We're going to need more, especially the way this offense has been sputtering. We're going to need a lot more, but I'd rather celebrate that after a win than a loss. Brother James from Kentucky, what's going on, sir? I hope you are celebrating a great Falcons win today. When I say great, I don't want y'all to come down and say that it was, all of that. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying I would rather be 1-2 than 0-3 at this point. And that's all I mean. Charles says it best, but a win is a win. I agree. Look, if you're like me, we've seen this picture too many times. Falcons had an opportunity where they put up that graphic and said the Falcons had not scored 1 point in the 4th quarter. I was saying to myself, those are the things that you put up there, and you just know as soon as you put up there, the Falcons are just gonna, they're just gonna implode or do whatever they did, and they were able to sustain, get up there and do what they need to do to get a win. Good job for the Falcons. James says, got Washington next week at home. Yes, we do. I'm going to say Washington for tomorrow or the next day just to be able to celebrate. Again, y'all, this was the first time we won in quite a long time, not even preseason, where we're able to taste the juices of a good win. But this time we were. Robinson says, we got lucky. Take it. I was at MetLife. It was rough watching both teams being 0-3. My brother Robinson, good job for you hanging up in there. Robinson, at this point of the year, again, and the Giants fans will tell you the same thing. Nobody was saying that this was a battle of the Giants. Nobody said this was a clash of the Titans. Right now, you had 2 teams not trying to go 0-3. One of us didn't. The other one did. So I could care less how it happened. I don't care whether it was lucky. I don't care whether they fumbled it away or gave it to us. A win is 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 a win. You tell me if you want to be on the other side of 0-3. I don't. Sorry. Quincy says, we got the W, still not seeing greatness. Oh, you already got that. Sorry. Herb says, defense won this game, only throwing the Pitts for 2 catches. This should have been a blowout game. Honestly, we were that good, a Giants that bad. Christian said, I'll take the win. LOL, but Matt still got to go. John Harris says, yes, we have a punter. And Greg, hey Greg, how you doing, my friend? Greg said somebody had to win. Glad it was us. And here's the thing: this is the part that's so funny to me. What's going on, False Start Falcon? Listening to us on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. How you doing? Say we hung in there. We all said we were pushing an 8-9 game losing streak. Glad that's over. And that's my boy. My interview is going on. Matt Drago. Absolutely. Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all, it's so funny because don't get me wrong. I understand that it wasn't pretty. And I know we're going to have the year butts. And I'm going to be here to address the year butts. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like there weren't a lot of deficiencies out there. I'm not here for that. Never been here for that. Never going to be the one to sit here and try to tell y'all that the Atlanta Falcons are now ready for greatness. Now we're playoff bound. No, that's not what I'm telling you. You know what I'm telling you? I'm gonna let it go from being. I'm gonna release a little bit of tension because we haven't won the game in a long time. We haven't. So if everybody wants to put up lucky, if y'all want to put up just barely, if y'all want to put up we barely scraped that by, I could care less. You know what? We'll deal with the deficiencies when they start looking at tape and stuff like that tomorrow. Today, I do want to address the win today. I don't want to sit and, it's easy for us to sit here and talk about what we didn't do. You know what we did do with 0 seconds left for the first time since November last year? We got a W. Speaking of the victory cigar, speaking of a man who has waited forever and a day he's been resigned to watching high school football for big wins. Sitting in the corner, 6 foot. I don't know what I know you 6 something. 6 foot, 2 pounds, soaking wet. My brother Tidy, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm great, Steve. How's it going today? Victory Sunday, baby. Let's go.
Oh man, talk to me, brother. We man, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. Let me turn down my thing. Hold on. It's amazing to me because you knew this was going to happen, Tidy. But I'm trying to get perspective. I understand I was sloppy. I understand that we're not the toughest team right now in the NFL. I understand we got a long way to go. But at 1 o'clock, we were 0-2. And today we're at 4 o'clock, we're 1-2. Sometimes you got to take those little bitty wins before you start thinking bigger. What's your thought? And we're going to get on the good and the bad.
Hey, like you say, you got to take them sloppy victories sometime, man. That's our first victory in 10 months. So happy, I'm elated. It wasn't the prettiest victory, but for us at this point in our journey, we got to take them all. Even the ugly ones, even the sloppy ones, we got to get them all.
So talk to me, brother. I got a chance to tell them how I was feeling and just, again, a feeling we haven't had in quite a while, going through preseason, going through this tumultuous offseason. Just to be able to get that first one of 2000. And really, this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't won in September since 2000. Is it 18 that we won in September? Because we went 0-4 in 19, right? Was it 0-4?
Yeah. It was something like that. It was 0 something.
Yeah. So this is the first time. Yeah, it was. There was an O in there. So tell me how you feel, just personally as a Falcon fan, just to let everybody know.
Feel real good, man. It just feel great to be on the W side of the winning column and get the donut off your win-loss record, man. It was a hard-fought game, and the thing about it, it was an away game. We fought, they fought, so it feels great to get a victory, man. And you got the Jets next week, So being optimistic, you can look at this like, hey, we can be 2-2 this time next week, and we right back in the playoff hunt. So it feels great, man. It feels fantastic.
I know you were very eager to get to that interception machine and Zach Wilson, but we do have the Washington football team next week here in Atlanta before we have that Jets game. But I see your eagerness to get to that second win. I see you. So I'm gonna take that as if, listen, we got to roll. We're on a roll. So we're gonna keep it going. I'm gonna throw a couple of comments up here real quick. Said smoking. Somebody says they're smoking a man of war. That's Corey smoking a man of war, my friend. Tell everybody the brand that you got today, Brother Toddy.
I pulled out a nice Victory cigar, Steve. This is a La Aurora broadleaf Perfecto. So this is my Victory cigar, La Aurora. Very, very nice smoke, celebrating our first victory since November of 2020, my friend.
You were saying La Aurora. It sounded like you were cussing me out. I didn't know what that was. But it looks good, brother. You smoke away and enjoy that Victory cigar. Philip says it feels good to finally win. Now I want to see Pitts get his first TD. That was a really good catch from him. Corey says that is a great cigar. Tell me, Toddy, what do you think about, listen, this is the first time we've seen Matt be Matty Ice in the fourth quarter in a long time. Tell me your feelings on going through that final drive the Falcons had to get that field goal.
My feeling was a bunch of nervousness, man, because you know this team's reputation and you know this team's history. So I was over here sitting on pins and needles, saying my Hail Marys and, praying hands. just hoping that nothing went wrong for us on that drive. You mentioned Matt Ryan. I think he was 9 for 10, either on the fourth quarter. It was something like that. He was 9 for 10. So he did great, secured the victory, drove us down the field. And that final drive, when we needed plays to be made, he made plays. Patterson made plays. And I could really tell the team just wanted this victory. And I'm so glad that we got it.
I'm going down a couple other comments down here. Greg C says we need to send Dory Jackson a thank you card for dropping that interception. Matt Ryan absolutely almost just threw that right to him, and he had an opportunity to get that interception on the drive that we did eventually score a touchdown. Thank you for him. My good friend from up north there, Miss Joni McCrae. Why how are you, young lady? She says, happy for y'all. Buffalo whooped up on Washington. Y'all might stand a chance if Matty Ice can keep it together. Good to see you, my friend. Dre says, is that a Cowboy shirt Toddy has on? And I don't think Toddy has a Cowboy shirt on.
No, of course. I don't own nothing but all my favorite team sports paraphernalia. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned this. This is an iron sharpened iron shirt. These shirts was made when my friend was battling cancer. He passed away probably a little bit over a year ago. So rest in peace, Rico. My Falcons got a win today. So I put on my Rico Strong shirt, Rico coated. Rest in peace, my good friend. We miss you, man.
Rico helped us out. Rico knocked the ball out of my man Adori's hand today in the end zone. We appreciate. Rest in peace, my friend. Rico, we appreciate you, man. John Harris says, let Tidy smoke this good cigar. I'm going to smoke tires on this car leaving town. Kenzel says, Falcons keep building confidence on both sides of the ball. And let's see. Let's move over here to the Atlanta Bird game. And also, if you do want to join us on the stream today, just let me know and I'll shoot a stream to you. We'll let you come in for a few minutes, chat it up with your fellas, man. First time we've been able to celebrate a win for a long time, so we sure y'all have a lot to say. Corey's that was Macario. Macario, what's going on, my friend? Say Patterson came through again. The second week in a row, Patterson has showed his wares for Atlanta. Corey says, our offensive line makes me the most nervous. If these guys get better week by week, we are going to be a heck of a lot better. I'm going to get back to that in about 30 seconds. Philip says, when's the last time Matt had a game-winning drive? It's been a while. My brother Siberius says, game ball goes to the defense. And our good friend Lisa says, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted. The next 3-4 game stretch is winnable. Beating the Giants was a great start. Lisa was supposed to throw some of those little stress balls to me so I could go pick them up off the sidewalk. She didn't do that for me. Good thing, because I needed them today. Let me go back to something that I just heard my man Corey say, and I want to put it up here, and I want to get your honest opinion, and I'm just trying to see if I'm just that off. He says, our offensive line makes me the most nervous. If these guys get better week by week, we are going to be a heck of a lot better. I'm not trying to put our offensive line in any top category. But today, what do you see out of the offensive line? It could be me. I have 4 eyes, Tidy, so I could be wrong. What did you see as a whole from our offensive line today?
As a whole from the offensive line, I actually, with my vision, I saw a good game from the offensive line. I won't go out on a big limb and say they played great, but they played good, man. The biggest knack or the biggest bit of criticism that I've seen from our offensive line has been the lack of pass protection. And in my opinion, they blocked very well in regards to pass protection today. There were some plays where Matt Ryan had all the time in the world. I saw him. Sometimes he stepped back in the pocket and he go to Waffle House and flip some waffles and make some scrambled eggs. So he had plenty of time in the pocket today. So I think the offensive line did very good today. And another good thing about it, the first 2 games, our offensive line, we played the Eagles defensive front. We played Tampa Bay. So they got their bruises and they got got hit in the face real early in the season. And I'm sure they all learned from that, you know. Mayfield, Lindstrom, McGarry. So we saw it as rough as it's going to get pretty much for our offensive line until we play somebody like Tampa again. But over and beyond, man, I think our offensive line did a good job today. You know what I'm saying? Whoever gets the game ball, I think they should at least let the offensive line touch it.
Say, don't hold it, just touch it a little bit. I saw the same thing. I mean, there were too many times, and I'm looking over here on the stream. Joseph Evans says the same thing. Let's build this winning streak. The offensive line held the pocket. Ryan held the ball too long. And listen, I understand the secondary actually had a pretty good game against our receivers. I don't know whether that's an indictment against that the guys weren't getting out of their routes or weren't able to cut loose. I understand that. Matt had easily 3 to 4 seconds every time, just about. There were times that the pass rush did get to him, but there were a few throws that, just like last week with Tampa Tidy, I feel like as a 14-year vet, I shouldn't have to tell Matt to throw the ball away. Get the ball out of your hands. Save it for 3rd down. The one drive we had inside and he took the sack. They gave him 4 seconds and he ran right into his tight end. He ran into him. The defensive guy didn't run into him. Matt ran into him. I'm just saying, I understand we're a work in progress on the offensive line, but I hate that we still keep, they're just the punching bag right now for us completely. For those, it's almost like you got 2 sides. I'm so pro Matt Ryan as the offensive line, and then you got the side that's saying, well, wait a minute, they gave him time today. I'm going to need the lethargic Matt Ryan to step up or get out of that and give me 4 or 5 yards, and let's move on to the next down. Am I totally out of whack?
No, I agree totally with that assessment, Steve. I agree totally and wholeheartedly with everything that you just said. There sometimes there was a few times today that Matt Ryan held the ball extremely too long. There was also some times that, you know, he got into his habit of just standing there with the ball and he went move. And of course that comes with age. You know, he's never been the most mobile / athletic guy in the world. So sometimes he just sits there in that pocket and he just can't move and dance in that pocket like a lot of these younger QBs can. And that's something hopefully that he can work through. And I know before our season started, Arthur Smith had him working on his speed in the pocket, and maybe that's the reason why. But he got to work on that, man. There were some times today I was like, Matt.
I would say but it had some definition to it because he did make me nervous. My brother Marcario says, I agree, Toddy. Matt had times where he could have scrambled for a few yards. The field opens up, but he threw to Zeke. And listen, those are the things when we start talking. I know today's not the day to we're not playing bash Matt, but I am saying when you see folks like myself, I'm not going to speak for Toddy unless Toddy says it. When you see folks like myself saying that's why when you desire that extra athleticism in the quarterback. Folks, Daniel Jones is not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not anybody in that ilk. But you know what he did a couple of times a day? He took that ball and ran 6-7 yards. He took that ball and ran 10 yards when everything broke down. And he was able to do that. Defenses don't respect Matt Ryan's athleticism. And against a team like the Giants, we were able to get away with it. But there will be other teams you won't be able to get away with that. And that's my only thing when I start criticizing that aspect of it. John Harris says, no, I got to disagree. That toss up that ended up a drop interception was just as dumb as a bag of rocks. And the next time I see a wide receiver get the ball stripped out of his hands, I'm going to Flowery Branch. That's your buddy, JR. Brother Ricky, how you doing, Rick? Rick is in the house saying what's up to everybody. Said Matt was about to get Zacchaeus killed today. And also says that Matt won't run. And if he does, it's not that far. Corey says, I love watching Grady Jarrett's play. His motor never stopped. Grady gonna make the highlights for a wrong reason today, though. Did you see him get trucked by Daniel Jones?
Yes. And Daniel dropped the shoulder on him, man. He went Natro and me.
Natron. Oh, they don't know about Natron and me. Why are you bringing up folk, bud? Natron and Means was a beast, boy. He was a beast. But, oh, man, and I know Grady was coming at an angle. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't like he was, like, straight up against him. But, boy, Daniel lowered that little shoulder into him. Woo. If they lost that game, you'll probably see that film a lot more than you will now. Now that we won the game, you might not have to worry about that. Yes, Ricky also says that Patterson is our Christian McCaffrey. That could be true. Maybe so. Tell us about the play of Cordero Patterson, man. I as much as and I'm going to get into the stats in 1 second, as much as I know Mike Davis was pretty much thought to be your feature running back in this offense, it seems week after week, it seems like we're starting to go in Cordero's direction the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Patterson actually had over 100 all-purpose yards, and he's really our spark. When we get lethargic and we can't get anything going, it seems like we look for Patterson to just get us a spark going. And that used to be a guy from Alabama that used to be our spark guy. When we needed a spark, we used to look for number 11. But with his departure, it seems like Patterson, instead of Ridley or Pitts, has taken that role as the spark guy. Like when we need a play to happen, hey, we look for Patterson, and he's played exceptional for the Falcons, all things considered. He's been a bright spot, in a lot of dull moments so far in our football season. And I'm glad he's on this team because I can probably say first 3 games, he's probably the best player in the first 3 games.
Oh, I think it's hard to argue with you on that. Joseph Evans says his drop down pass was late, let the defender get to the receiver, talking about Matt. Jody says, wishing the Falcon fans the best. It's a tough division. Matty Ice has to make the most of his opportunities. That second quarter fumble recovery should have been at least 3 points. Good point. We did have an opportunity that we should have done better with that. And Joseph says Patterson is bigger and faster. Dre says, as I said before, Davis is just able-bodied at running back. Patterson is the man. I wanted to pull up the stats right here for us, Tidy, as you were talking about them, just so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about. Matt Ryan from ESPN.com, of course. Matt Ryan ended up the day 27 of 36, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did take those 3 sacks, rating of 111.2. Who cares? We won. What's scaring me the most about that stat is he's starting to be a little more like, remember how Drew Brees was about 4 or 5 years ago? One of his big things was he would always get his yards would be over 10 yards per attempt. Look at Matt Ryan's yard per attempt. That's the one thing we've always been able to rely on. Him getting the ball down the field. 6.8. Talk to me about the proverbial dinks and dunks that Matt has been regulated to this year.
As far as that goes, that was a big topic as we were all watching the game in the game thread. That's something a lot of people touched on, is the dink and dunk offense. It's problematic for me because it makes us much easier to defend if we're not challenging the defense. Luckily for us, we played a subpar team. You're going to take any W that you can get, but when you start playing those good teams again with the good defenses, man, we're going to have to start challenging the defense deep. Even if we're just overthrowing the guy by 3 yards, you got to challenge the defense, man, because I'm glad we got the victory, and I'm not being a stat geek, but if you throw the ball 36 times, you don't even get over 100. You don't even get over 250 yards. That's really not that impressive. And going back to what we were talking about, the offensive line gave him a lot of time. There were times where the blocking was impeccable, and we're throwing 2-yard checkdowns, 1-yard checkdowns, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I personally think it's a combination of Matt Ryan realizing his limitations. He know that arm got a lot of miles on it, and maybe Arthur Smith knowing also, like, hey, maybe I gotta cut back on the kind of plays I'm calling until I'm confident that my quarterback could complete these passes over 25 yards.
Or maybe he's saying to himself, this is what I inherited, and I know I'm stuck in this position. I've got to squeeze this lemon for whatever it's got. And right now it's got 6.8 yards per attempt on it. And I've just noticed that as well. Listen, give me a shot 30 yards down the field. It almost seemed like that last pass he threw to Kyle Pitts, that seemed like that took a lot out of him. If you just really look at it. It's not the one thing you can say about Matt, even the last, I would go back to even 18 and 19. Matt put the ball down the field. Matt would at least try to go down the field. We might be coming up on a Matt Ryan that isn't able to do that anymore. Joseph Evans comes up and tells us Joe Montana and Roger Craig won 4 Super Bowls on the dink and dunk passes, which is actually a very good point. John Harris says we left 40 points on the field. I don't see 40 points we left on the field. In order for you to leave 40 points on the field, genius, and I'll dog him out because that's my boy. To get 40 points on the field, I need you in the red zone at least 6 times. We weren't in the red zone that much. You can't leave 40 points on the field. Not like we played today. I'm sorry, buddy. And if you think you got something to say, come on in here, and I'll tell it to you on the line. Looking at the stats again, 36 passes for Matt. Looking at the running game, Mike Davis again, 12 carries, 50 yards, as you mentioned today. Cordero Patterson with 100 yards of total offense, 7 carries, 20 yards, and 8 receptions, 82 yards, including that 28-yard gallop that got us going on that last drive. Calvin Ridley, little by little, starting to creep up again. He got got 8 catches this time, 61 yards. Again, that 7.6 average. We got to do something about that. We got to stretch that out. No doubt that we need to start looking at our defense. Defensively, I think we played good. If you look at Fourier, man, Fourier with 14 tackles, man. Dude, I'm trying to tell you, Tidy, more and more, I'm starting to think about our payroll next year. And I'm starting to think about folks that people that you look at that you might have to make that financial decision on. Dude, if we have to let Fourier go, I'm just thinking that's going to be a mistake. Dude balls.
He does, and you may get to a point where you have to choose between your linebacker of the future, whether that be Debo or Olaquan. You may get stuck in that pickle. You kind of hope you don't, but I agree with you. That's the guy that you want to at least stand for given this contract extension to for the next 3 to 5 years. Young guy, stud linebacker. He gets all over the field. So I definitely hope the Falcons are able to extend him, which I think we will. I think they're going to keep him.
I don't even think you have to break the bank with him per se, because 5th round or 6th round pick?
It was somewhere around there. It was late in the draft. You know that.
Yeah. It's not like you're going to have to break the bank, but his solid play, I think about the fumble he had where he stood the guy up last week at Tampa and he fumbled the ball and he punched the ball out, stuff he was doing last year. And just to keep seeing his improvement every year is scary, man. I mean, 14 tackles. Dion with 13 tackles. TJ Green, he wasn't going against top-notch receivers today, but he held his own pretty good. I give him a B today because, listen, we did not have our number 1 cornerback today in A.J. Terrell. Hopefully he'll be back from the concussions next week, but he did a good job filling in for him today. Very good job, mostly from the team. The Giants, even coming into the season, you're supposed to beat the Giants. So I'm glad that we ended up doing it. But, yeah, these guys, man, these guys are a team you're supposed to beat. Let's see if we start taking more advantage of teams that we're supposed to beat, like the Giants, to your point, in 2 weeks, like the Jets, and see what comes up for us. Let me go back here. Our Marcario says, I've noticed that Matt and Whitley haven't hooked up for a 40-yard pass yet. Is it because that Matt is losing that float? I tend to disagree with you. Matt has to float. That's the problem. The ball floats up in the air way too long. What Matt needs to have is what a word am I looking for? He needs to have some distance.
Yeah.
I mean, the float. I mean, I was saying last week, that play last year was a punt that he did last week. So we've got to do better from that end. Ricky says, which means that Matt has to loosen his noodle and throw the ball downfield. Again, Ricky, you can only we talking about him doing it. I'm not sure if he can do it anymore. I'm not sure if Matt can throw the ball downfield. I think his days of throwing the ball downfield, now I think they are gone. Ricky says, well, if that's what you call conditioning, you're a multi-million-dollar quarterback. That means you got to train like one. On a side note, for all that is on the Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence train. Fields is 0-2. Lawrence is 0-3. That mobile quarterback talk doesn't mean a thing. Of the O-line can't protect them. Here's my thing, and I know I'm gonna let you speak to this as well, Tidy. Here's my thing, Ricky. Nobody's saying that if Justin Fields would have been on Atlanta, we were going to automatically be 13-4. I'm not even saying Justin Fields came on Atlanta and we be 8-9. What I'm saying is you have to start bringing up these young guys at your quarterback position and get their feet wet. Trevor Lawrence is going to be okay. It's not going to be in 2021. But the longer we keep Matt here is the longer we're going to keep stunting the next guy who's coming behind him, because they got to sit and wait for Matt to finish his 8-yard routes, which are the longest he can throw the ball. I let you speak to that, Tiger.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to compare Trevor and Justin as babies. You know, they're rookies. You know, Justin Fields just got his first start today, so technically he's 0-1. Trevor Lawrence 0-3. But see, the thing about that, the Falcons are only 1-2, so we only have one more win than both of those guys. But the thing about that is, when you get a rookie quarterback and they start, especially, you know, when you drafted them, you know, top 5, top 10, you're going to automatically get time. You know, you're granted equity automatically because you got a rookie quarterback start. None of us expected Trevor Lawrence to come out here and just set the NFL on fire his very first year. And I didn't anticipate Justin Fields to come out here and dominate a Cleveland Browns defense facing guys like Myles Garrett. So you're granted that leniency when you do have that rookie. Now you compare that to a 14-year quarterback, a veteran quarterback, a seasoned quarterback whose expectations are much, much higher than these 22, 23 years old. So it's kind of a hard comparison. You gotta compare Trevor with Justin. You gotta compare Justin with Zach. You gotta compare Zach with Mac Jones, and then you gotta compare Matt Ryan with the 10 and 15-year veterans. You know, so you gotta truly compare apples to apples in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point when you start talking about that. I know today is not going to be about today. I definitely don't want to make it about match deficiencies, though it's kind of hard not to bring them up when you're in a close game. But it is one of those things that we try to bring every time, just to say, yeah, we want Matt to be all that. I want Matt to be right now. I want Matt to continue moving forward and keep pushing this team into a better position. Right now, I'll take the W against the Giants because we had to get off the snide. But I can't be happy with 6.8 yards an attempt. That's not the quarterback we need for this team that has a still very solid Calvin Ridley. Kyle Pitts, who's shown us flashes but hasn't had an opportunity to get his game on. Hayden Hurst, who's being wasted right now in the middle. And even a couple of times when you had Zacchaeus there, to my man's point, you almost got him killed a couple of times with some of those passes you were leading into him. That's the only thing when we start talking about a Matt Ryan. Let me go to Brother Tio. What's going on, Tio? He said, bruh, Matt had time, as well as these folks keep comparing these mobile rookies to Matt. This is silly. And listen, Matt had time, but Matt can't get out of those situations. Like, again, on the flip side of things, Daniel Jones, who strikes fear in no one, but Daniel Jones, who at least has the presence that when that defensive line is crashing down on him and his pocket has given him that 3 seconds, he at least can either one or two things: get out of it, get to the side, or give me 4 yards so I can live to fight for another down. Those are the things I think we keep missing when you start talking about Matt and his deficiencies. T.O. said it's time to draft a rookie quarterback. And Jason Jones says victory cigar. Absolutely. My brother Christopher Foote says you also have to compare the teams that are around them as well. Most of the time, the top picks are on trash teams, and you're talking about with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. Again, I think both of those guys are going to be fine. I don't think you're going to have to worry about either one of them. I think eventually you'll see. A couple of years from now, I think we're going to have both of those guys we're going to be talking about, and you're going to say, oh, man, I remember when I was dogging them out, and now they're going to be balling. Especially Trevor Lawrence. Don't get it twisted, y'all. We talked a lot about Justin Fields, and we talked a lot about Trey Lance and whatever. Justin Fields is the best quarterback coming out of this draft. As you see at Clemson now, as they struggle to score a touchdown, period, this year. Right. They are – Trevor is going to be fine. This is year one. I tell you, he's not going to be fine. Urban Meyer, I don't know what he's going to do with all this losing title. He's not used to losing on any level. I think his days. Yeah, I never believed in him as much. I think he was the benefactor of good players when he was. He had arguably the best college player in my life seeing in Tim Tebow. He arguably he had him, and then when he went to Ohio State, what's my man's name? The third string wonder guy who won the game for him at Ohio State, the quarterback who was garbage. What's the guy behind TJ Barrett, RJ Barrett?
I know you're talking about
the national big boy quarterback. Yeah, because it that wasn't Zeke's team, was it? Was that Zeke's team?
I don't remember. I know you're talking about. His name escaped me.
Cardale Jones. Cardale Jones. Big boy. Yeah, big boy. And I think that was Zeke's team that he lucked up and had better athletes. That's how he ended up doing this thing. David Starks says, I'll take this win, but Matt didn't look good at all. His footwork in the pocket has gotten progressively worse. His arm strength is waning, and his decision-making is leaving a lot to be desired. Do you agree with that, sir?
I would agree with that. I think Matt was better the final drive toward the end of the game. Now, we did get a little lucky when old boy dropped that interception, as John Harris mentioned, in the end zone. If he makes that play, which he should have, the whole demeanor that me and you are having is totally different right now. Right. But I will agree with David, man. It's just some stuff you watch when you look at our quarterback that you can't deny. And I said in our game thread, Steve, the last drive, I said we need the young Matt Ryan this drive because, as David mentioned, man, the footwork and him just sometimes it's just like he get in there and he just stuck concrete bricks on his feet, and that just comes with age. You know, Matt's gonna be 37 in May. You know, so he's not a spring chicken. And one thing we got to mention too, Steve, when we talk about his arm, because David Stark just mentioned that his arm strength is waning. Now, one thing that us Falcon fans, we love to give Matt Ryan props on, which you do deserve, is the amount of passing yards that he has accumulated in a 13-plus career, right? Now, One thing that we tend not to ever mention, with those passing yards comes a lot of passing attempts. He has started his rookie year. He's only missed 3 games. And if you know the Falcons, like we know the Falcons, Matt Ryan is typically going to be top 3 in passing attempts probably these last 5 years. So long story short, that's a lot of miles on that arm. You know, a lot of miles on that arm. You know, we both got some age on us, so we don't own some cars throughout our times. And you know, Steve, once that car gets over like 130,000 miles, you know, you can't push it like you used to push it. You could just take it to Kroger and come back home. You try to put it on the interstate, you taking a chance. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, You get a lot of miles in that arm, it ain't gonna perform like it used to perform. Same thing with a lot of miles on that car.
Ironically, as you mentioned, a lot of old miles. In comes John Harris, who when you start talking about old miles and folks that listen, and I want to before I get to the illustrious one, I want. It's like, and I kept making this analogy, and y'all wait with me. The car thing was good. How you have the one engine in the car, you keep changing spark plugs, you change the tire, you change a couple of beat up the windows cracked, you change them, you change everything on the car, but the engine is the same. That car doesn't run as good as it did a few years ago. And I think Matt Ryan being the engine in this car, that's what we're saying. And there are people that want to make a 2020 car run like a 2010 car, and it doesn't work that way. The car might still run literally, but that doesn't mean it's going to run as well as it did back then. I'm glad you brought up that analogy. So listen, old guy in the picture right now, brother John, Pastor John, do you know this man is most wanted on radio stations, Tiny? Do you know that?
John from Union City.
Oh man, he tries to play like he's Mr. Cool, but they give him so much hell. Oh. How are you doing, my friend?
Steve, you know, I'm gonna tell you like this. Making your bones on Atlanta radio, man. See, it's only so much liquor you can drink. It's so much. Oh, yeah. It's only so much liquor you can drink, and then it starts to affect your health and your football team. Yeah. See, I don't have no hair up here for a reason.
None of us do.
Yeah, I
dude.
And snow falls up now. Snow fall up now, but man. Oh boy, what was that?
Tell me what you saw today, brother. I know you were watching. Tell me what you saw, and I'm gonna break it down to you because I know you'll break down every single dang play, and we'll be here till 8. Tell me what you saw on that last drive that you hadn't seen from Matthew Ice in a long time. Tell me.
Well, I saw him get him in the field goal range. I saw him drive him down and get him in the field goal range because I posted in the game stream. Here was an opportunity for a meaningful last-second game-winning drive, and we pulled it off. You know, it was for the first 3-4 quarters. It was just like pigs wallowing in the mud because. Hey, do you want the game? No, I don't want the game. You take the game. No, I don't want it. You take the game. Now, you know, that's what was going on the whole game. You know, people were just giving each other chances to win the game. And, I'm going to say this. That defense, man, let me tell you something. They bent, but they didn't break. They were the true meaning of bend, but don't break.
Yes.
You know?
True.
And even though Grady got embarrassed, hey, got him a sack and led that defensive line. And those blitzes, even though those blitzes weren't getting there, they were popping it. And we weren't getting penalties. They were popping Jones, and they weren't getting penalties. Offensive line. Hey, man. Now, the thing about that, if you go to the playoffs, you're going to face the best offensive lines that your conference has. You're going to face the best offensive line that the other conference is going to bring there. So, thing is, this week they got a break. And look good against a subpar defensive line. It was a subpar defensive line, but it's showing improvement. At least I don't see Jake Matthews out there blocking air, and I don't see Hennessy getting run over. I didn't see that all day. I got to look at the game film and see what was going on. But Ryan, as I've been telling you for years, Steve, the man had a chance to look, this man made biscuits. It was just like popping fresh back there.
Okay.
7 seconds I counted one time, man. 7 seconds. And I said, now, somebody must be going 104 yards down the field because Matt is winding that doggone scud launcher up. But I didn't see a pass.
Now in fairness, in fairness, Jay, you've been saying Matt Ryan can't throw since 2008. So let's not act like you just started that criticism like 2 years ago and stuff. No, you were saying that, dude, Toddy. In his MVP season, this man below you was saying that Matt Ryan couldn't throw. So I don't think his credibility for talking about Matt Ryan is that accurate.
Man, but Steve, the thing is,
man, Jonathan Free.
Now this is the thing, Steve. Once you transcend a level, you're not supposed to regress back below that level. Once you get here, I'm expecting you to go here. Then I'm expecting you to go here. Then I'm expecting you to go here. True. Until you get to the epitome, the very highest echelon of football greatness. This is what I'm expecting. And when you drop, hey man, what's wrong with you? Come on here. Being okay, everybody keeps saying Matt Ryan's the MVP quarterback. Excuse me. They issue that year by year by year by year.
Right.
The elite category. The elite category, you fall out of the elite category when you no longer have the stats to maintain that elite category. Okay? It's not something that's willed to you, blessed to you like Giant season tickets, Washington Redskins season tickets. Just because your family own them, that don't mean you great. Look, you've got to continue to earn greatness. Greatness is a continuous plateau to be reached. That's why I'm so critical here, because even though this is a win, oh, how the mighty have fallen. We desperate. You heard us all last week. Man, I hope we don't go 0-3. Man, that's territory that I never wanted to come back to and experience again. That's where I'm coming from with it. I want my team at the pinnacle. I want my team at the top. But I've got to be realistic. We're far, far from that. We're far from that. And that hurts. That just hurts. Man, look, I've had to start taking vitamins again because this thing is killing me, and then I'm chasing vitamins with these, it says volcano, but don't pay no attention to that. Don't pay no attention to that, because see now, that ain't what you think it is.
Ain't no blue diamonds, is it?
Hey, Toddy, lead it.
From gas
station. Hold down. Them blue
See.
This appears you have to ask the
This is why. This is why you got to kick him off of Atlanta radio, because this stuff right here. This is why he kicked him.
It's spiritual.
All right, so I got a couple people that just came in. Jonathan came in and said, "Hey, give him credit. It's very hard to win on the road." Joseph Evans came in and said he disagrees with car mileage analogy. He got 440,000 miles on his car on a 2005 original engine, everything functioning well, but Matt is done. Tom Brady still clicking at 44 years old. Only thing I say about Tom Brady is Tom Brady is a whole different animal, and I think for any of us to try to compare anyone to Tom Brady is just ridiculous. We're gonna hurt our heads when I hear people say, "Hey, Matt Ryan's this old. Come on in and do this right quick." I'm gonna move you, John. Stand by. I'm gonna move you out 1 second. Okay, you coming back? You coming back? Stay right there. You're gonna come right back. I wanted to move my brother in here real quick. One of the admins coming in. I know he was on live going on, and I didn't get a chance to hear his perspective from the passenger seat car. My brother, Mark Dunder Mifflin t-shirt wearing Washington. And I love it. Listen, every time you wear that shirt, I'm a huge Office fan. So every time you wear that, I just start laughing because to me, that's probably the greatest sitcom of all time. But I digress.
Yeah.
So how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm settling into this dub right now. So, how we got it was the long way, but I'll take it.
How do you feel? Tell me what that field goal going through. We haven't had that feeling, bro. Every live, yourself, Tidy, myself, Nick, have to go through is telling why we lost. I almost feel different today, and I'm not trying to be funny because man, I can't talk about us losing today because it feels different. It does.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcus?
Yeah. Well, we haven't been put in a position, man, to have the ball with the final seconds left on the clock to win the game. And to be honest, man, we should have won this game running away. The defense was the highlight of this game. The defense kept making stops. The defense had, the Giants at 3rd and 19, 3rd and 16. The defense stood when they needed to. The offense, with the exception of the last 2 drives and the touchdown drive in the second quarter, they were pedestrian, man. They were pedestrian.
Right.
Cordell Patterson, another great week worth of work. Yeah. He actually broke the game open with the second drive when he caught the simple pass and ran that thing for like 30 yards. That broke the game open right there. Because our offense could have very easily went out and went 3 and out and gave them boys the ball right back. But I came in right when your guy was talking about, being put in the elite category, and you have to have the stats consistently year in and year out to obtain that. And I think the one thing we've been talking about is, especially is the inconsistency of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan walked into the fourth quarter with 125 yards. That is mediocre. Those 2 drives put him over the top. I think he ended with like 260. But even though we won, the fact that had that dude come down with the ball in the end zone for the pick, we're having a completely different conversation right now.
Right.
And those are the plays that cannot happen. On that particular play, he was trying to get it to Calvin Ridley, and he overthrew Calvin Ridley. And I'm like, how do you overthrow a guy that's like 6'5"? Like, it overthrew him badly. You know what I mean? But he made up for it. But I think that was a great play design to get us in the end zone by Arthur Smith. But yeah, man, to me, this could be the catalyst of Atlanta doing some things. My main worry right now, man, to be honest, is the quarterback play. Before I jumped on here, for people to talk about Matt Ryan can still throw the deep ball. We haven't seen that. I'm sitting here watching the Rams and the Bucks play. I think Matthew Stafford came in a year after Matt Ryan, and I just saw this boy throw a beautiful.
It was 09.
Well, yeah, 09. Because Matt Ryan was 2008. I just saw this boy throw a beautiful dot that was like 25 yards to Cooper Kupp. And then I saw him throw another 18-yarder. And I'm like, we don't see Matt Ryan even throwing these balls. And then when we see him throw the ball, whoo, it's a duck. So I agree with what he said when, talking about we've seen what I'm seeing with Matt Ryan, and I said this before the beginning of the season. In order to justify Matt Ryan being our starter next year, he had to have damn near an MVP season this year. And he's off to a bad start, a very bad start. Even though I'll take the dub now.
Right.
But I'm not impressed with Matt Ryan through three games of football in this season.
That's very. I think everybody is pretty much coming up with that same point. It's not like that's anything. I don't feel any different after this win about Matt Ryan than I did before. And if anything, I give him credit for making those 2 plays. Listen, somebody had to throw the ball and the guys had to catch it. So I give him credit, but I don't feel any different. And you're not going to change my thoughts on him at this time. Monica comes in. How you doing, Monica? She said, I'll take Matt Stafford any day over Matt Ryan. I don't think that's a stretch for anybody to say that. I know Monica big time on our Falcons. She also says, me too, it's a win, but I'm still not impressed. And listen, this is a team that hasn't won in forever. And we win this game, and folks are just telling it like it is, folks. This doesn't look like a win on paper, but I think some of us who are just fans are just able to bask today, Tidy, just to say, whew, we won. Is it fair to give Matt Ryan some credit for today? I'm not forcing you. I'm saying for fans, do we at least say thank you, Matt, a little for the win today?
I don't know if you necessarily would say thank you, but you give him some credit for the win, because when the plays needed to be made, he did make the plays. As far as the thank you, you might want to thank the defense, kind of like Marcus just mentioned. You may want to thank Cordero Patterson for the spark that he provided. But you do give Matt some credit for the victory, albeit it was I called it Vanderbilt versus Kentucky, because that's what it looked like. I was watching. How we've been going lately, I guess we got to take them when we can get them. What they say, beggars can't be choosy or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
I think it's
Steven, let me piggyback off of what Tidy said real quick, and I'll get out of here because I ain't mean to kick your guy out. I just thought
no. Let me explain something to you before you go on your point, Marcus. John Harris, if you don't cut him off, you will be talking until about 10 p.m. So I have, as a good friend of his, every opportunity that I get to mute him for seconds will be fine. That's my boy. He'll be okay. Yeah. I'll let you come. Finish your
piggybacking off of what Tidy was talking about. I think a lot of people, they think that you can't be critical in a win. We won today. So you have some people that say, y'all just need to shut up. We won. That's all that matters, which in a situation is true. However, when you look at our last 3 seasons, I find where we are fascinating, because you see teams struggle against, teams in the division, teams with a better record. We struggle against everybody, whether it's a great team, right, whether it's a mediocre team, whether it's a team with a rebuild, whether it's a team with a rookie quarterback. It's like we play to their level of, if we play Tampa Bay, all of a sudden our offense is clicking in 1 quarter, then the rails fall off. We play against Philly. We're in it for a second, then our offense can't score, wheels fall off. With this game, we're playing a team that's 0-2. Their number 1 receiver in Sterling Shepard goes out. They get Galladay back, but Galladay is coming back from injury. So really, the only real true offensive weapon they have is their running back. It's Saquon Barkley. And we struggle against them. So I think when I say that, I'm not really, I'll take the dub, but it's not something I'm really going to sit here and just, do this like I'm King Kong. We got the win. Yeah. But to me, and this is why me and Ryan Knights go to the mat. Whatever Matt Ryan does, man, y'all got to give Matt Ryan credit. Those last 2 drives, that's my quarterback. He the MVP. I'm like, bro, let's talk about these first 3 quarters where Matt Ryan was non-existent. Matt Ryan was non-existent. Y'all don't talk about the offensive line when we win, though. Y'all get quiet about the defense when we win, but when we lose, offensive line can't block. Matt Ryan ain't got no time to throw the ball. Wait a minute, damn it. Ain't this the same offensive line that played in Tampa? So, yeah. I mean, explain to me why we can't talk about the elephant in the room, a 14-year quarterback who, for some reason, is still on the same team, no chips, biggest meltdown in Super Bowl history, 3 back-to-back-to-back losing seasons, doesn't look good this year, didn't really look good today with the exception of the last 2 drives. Why can't we talk about, hey, look, maybe, just maybe, our offense looks this bad because our quarterback is inconsistent?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not completely shitting on Matt Ryan. It's just calling it for what it is.
It's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Telling the truth.
No, Marcus. No, you're not loyal.
And listen, people get mad
you're
at
not
me.
Not loyal to your team. That's what it is. Hey, you got to look inside yourself.
Hey, Steve, I tell people this all the time. I earned my stripes last year. These boys put me in the hospital family. I earned my stripes. Yeah. So if there's anybody that should be able to talk about this team, it should be me. I literally went into the hospital behind this team, bro.
This is true.
So I'm like, hey,
do I tell y'all before every game? What do I tell y'all to do before every Falcons game? Get a drink. Get a smoke, do something, because these Falcons will kill you. And Marcus, man, when that happened, I really felt bad, because the thing is that I see what you have done in organizing and helping organize this group and getting everybody together and discussing this team and loving this team from in here.
Yeah.
See, when the team starts damaging the main oil pump, man, that mess ridiculous. You got to back up. And see, that's what I've had to do. Now, I'm 62 years old. And thing is, I done told Steve and I told everybody else, ain't too much longer I'm going to be able to care about this. You know what I'm saying? For my health's sake. Because, see, like Steve said, I've been calling sports talk radio ever since they came to town. And the very first subject that we talked about in the morning on 790 The Zone with Max and Morgan when they were here was the Falcons and how bad they were and what was going on. And the thing about it was, talk radio was therapy for us, because guess what? We had to hold this in. We had to hold this in because we had no outlet to ventilate and tell the Falcons, the rest of the fans, or anybody else how bad we were feeling about how bad this team was. See? And thing is, once we got that taste of Super Bowl in 1998, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled. And then when you went to Houston with the best chance to win the Super Bowl, are you? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
See, look, man. I drove down there. Fought off bears, fought off tigers. I weighed in. Every time I went to the rest area, I had to look over my back. Bought this, thinking this was going to be a collector's item. I'm wearing it in shame. That's what I'm doing. I'm wearing it in shame. Now,
and see, and see here, Marcus. Here's the thing. A few minutes ago, you asked me why I bumped my boy off. That's why, because I knew you weren't gonna get anything in word wise. So I wanted to make sure you got your opportunity to talk before you came in. Because that's my look. This is my brother from another mother over here. But if you get him started, he will tell you every inch of how Matt Ryan has been the absolute antichrist for the Atlanta Falcons in this during this last 14 years.
Not antichrist, Beelzebub.
Hey, Steve, I'll say this to his point where, when you look at, groups like ours, there a couple of groups that have popped up. I remember when I started making videos, there wasn't a lot of people making videos. And actually, I started making videos when Facebook only had like 10-minute intervals. So I had to squeeze all my thoughts inside of 10. If you've watched my lives before, compared to how I go for an hour, I had to squeeze all that in 10 minutes. I started because I felt like sports radio wasn't going to tell it from a true Falcon perspective. There was always like some sugarcoating to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. So, when I started doing videos, it was just how I felt as a Falcon fan. Just as when the game went off, I just told it how it was. When we went on our run in 2016, and I constantly say this, when I got on here and said after the Kansas City game, we was going to run the table, man, Cass was in my inbox. Man, you done lost your damn mind. But the difference between that team and this team, I could see it in that team. I can see the team had no problem going down the field, putting up points. Our problem at that point was Richard Smith's defense was terrible. So I said, if Dan Quinn takes over this defense, we're going to run the table. Dan Quinn takes over the defense, we run the table, and then we have the big meltdown. You can put that on whatever. But now, what I really like is the fact that I can hop on the group page and there's multiple people making videos. Multiple. It's just different perspectives. There are videos that I watch. I'm like, man, I didn't even see that. I didn't really look at it from that direction. So that's what makes me really, really proud of this group is the fact that, there are some people that jump in here and say, hey, man, the admins don't let me say anything. I'm like, man, it'd be World War III here sometimes.
Yeah.
We can let y'all get away with murder.
Actually, a few years ago.
You go into some of these other groups, bruh, they blocking, if you say anything about Matt Ryan, they blocking you from the group. And then they deleting your post. So I'm like, man, I see so many people.
Right.
I got a guy in my inbox right now talking about, hey, man, you got to let me back in, man. I got blocked for no reason. I'm sitting there like, man, if you got blocked, it was for a reason, dog, because we let a lot of stuff go in here.
Right.
So that's the one thing personally I'm really, really proud of being part of this group where you have different opinions and you have people, I have conversation with Ryanites. Some of it's civil. Some of these guys, they admit that Matt Ryan isn't the same guy, but they're like, what are we going to do though? My thought is if Josh Rosen can give me 125 yards in 3 quarters, that's how I'm looking at it, man. Like, what's the big difference? So
Right.
It's better than getting shot.
Right.
Look. We and Marcus, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys, the admins of this group, because see, I loved it when it was wide open, wild west shooting all the time. Because you in my element. See, because I got a silencer on mine. You're not gonna hear it. It's just gonna be boop boop, and you just because thing is that when I came in this group, I said I'm not biting my tongue. I want to say what it is I want to say, and I'm going to be civil. I'm going to use English. I'm going to curse you without even using a curse word. And from time to time, I've let a couple slip, but it was only Facebook and their situation that made it where we can't be as open as we used to be in this group. See, that's Facebook because of all of this other stuff that's been going on. But the thing is about this group, see, I've been kicked out of at least 4 clubs. You know, it's about 4 Falcons groups I've been kicked out of. And I told them, I inboxed their admins or whatever. I said, look, you don't want anybody to tell the truth. You
That's
shouldn't
all.
accept it in the first place. Yeah, just 4. Just 4. Because, see, I'm choosy about the club that I go into. I look at what's on the outside. Oh, that's a nice place. I might be able to get a drink in there. So I went in there, got a drink, and got thrown out. You know, hey, I don't care. Look, I've been thrown out in better places than what y'all got. And I don't care. But the thing is that, look, at the end of the day, you're looking in the trophy case.
Right.
You got a 1998 old style NFC Championship trophy, and you got a 2016 new style NFC Championship trophy. But I went to the Pittsburgh Steelers team headquarters. Man, it's just like going to the Hall of Fame because you have all of those AFC Championship trophies, conference trophies, Super Bowl trophies. I mean, stuff just lying in the room. And I get jealous. I remember telling the story about the time the man let me try on his Super Bowl ring that he had won from the New England Patriots. Man, and y'all got to forgive me. That thing was heavy. That ring was heavy, bro. All 1,100 diamonds in that thing. That thing was heavy. And I want one for my city. This, I'm born, look here. Georgia born, Georgia bred, and when I die, I'm going to be Georgia dead. This is my town. This is my city. I've grown up here over in Pittsburgh. We deserve a Super Bowl. And my aim is to get us there. I'm going to cuss out who I need to cuss out. I'm going to pat on the back who I need to pat on the back. But we got to get a Super Bowl. That Mercedes-Benz Dome is too damn pretty not to have a championship banner hanging in it. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. I just hopped in here.
Marcus, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming up in here, man. And, we're going to celebrate this win for 1 week.
Yeah. Hey, I'll say this before I go. Wherever people have their differences, with Matt Ryan or the defense or the offensive line, whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, we're all Falcons fans. We all want to see this team excel. We all want to see this team win, and we want to see this team get a chip, because I think this is the one city that if they want a chip, they tearing the city down.
Yes.
I'm telling you, we saw what Tampa Bay did when they won. It was mediocre.
Yeah.
If Atlanta won a Super Bowl, that night, downtown going to be off the charts.
Yes.
So I think people it's almost like, listen, we've been dating this team for so long. We just want a ring. I'm not even selfish. I just want one. Now,
that's what you want. One.
If we get 2, 3, 4, hey, I'm cool. But I've been riding with this team for so long, and I'm gonna ride till the wheels fall off. So when people watch me and think that I'm super critical, hey man, I'm the same guy who, when this team plays, I'm sitting there watching every play, win, lose, or draw. So I believe that everybody's entitled to have their opinion, but at the end of the day, we all bleed the same colors. So I appreciate y'all having me on here, man. I'm gonna get up off here because I got house duties that I gotta tend to. And I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna enjoy this dub, man.
Thank you, brother Marcus. I appreciate you, man. You take care, brother. We'll catch you. We'll catch you next go round, man. I appreciate brother coming in there, man. This is one of the parts I love getting into that we've been doing the last couple of times. Toddy and I got a chance, I think, to do it once. And I'm gonna go on the web page and go by a couple of posts and see what we got going on. Let's see what's going on in the game right now and see what kind of posts we got. Our buddy Courtney Green comes in, says being a Falcon fan should come with some type of health benefit.
Yeah.
Yes,
no doctor will ever see you. No doctor will ever see you, man. Man, look at him.
You correct.
Man, look. Hey, you better be glad there's Obamacare because that's a pre-existing condition.
Lord, please don't talk about no Obamacare and get these folks on the wrong page. Okay, Jerome Powell says, can we enjoy this win without all the negativity this week? Rise up.
And that goes back to what Marcus was just saying before he left about you can be content with the team winning, but you can still be critical of the team winning also because like Marcus was saying, like we should have ran through this team. The Giants are not good at all. Not saying the Falcons are good either, but
hey, now Toddy, they're not. And see, I got to go back to something that Steve said that made me call in. He wanted to know how I was saying that we left 40 points on the field. And I'm going to explain how I make that calculation. Every week, I post the drive charts. And when I post the drive charts, anytime a team gets the ball, I'm counting 7 points. Every time you get the ball, you have an opportunity to score 7 points. If you get the ball, interception takes place, punt takes place, you lose possession and you don't score, that's 7 points that you were supposed to have. Punt 10 times, that's 70 points. That's 70 points. As astronomical a number as it is, you had 10 opportunities to score. So that's how I calculate up points left on the field. Now, we both, the Giants and us, we were 0-2. We're 0-2. And you know my boy Vic DiBattista that I always post up after those post game, you know they take this as an insult to the highest degree that they lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Because I can just imagine what he's saying.
So what are you gonna say this week, John? Because I watched a few of those videos you posted.
Man,
now people think that we bad.
That
dude.
Yeah, dude is. Yeah, he's on another level.
He is on another level, man. That guy, he goes. They think we bad. Oh man,
that's the reason why I post those videos so that people can see what's going on up in football cities, the cities that helped found the NFL, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, whatever. When that quarterback is garbage, when a wide receiver is garbage, they gonna say it, and their sports talk and their newspapers gonna say it too. They not gonna hold back, okay? But see, our standards cannot be lowered, gentlemen. We cannot lower our standards just because the football team isn't playing up to them. We can't do that.
Right.
You paying these people too much money. And then on top of that, just like Marcus said, and someone said in the live that same thing I've been saying. You've had a quarterback here for 14 years, the only constant that's in the equation, and the equation is still going wrong. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Right.
Okay. And everybody's now being dragged kicking and screaming to the realization that we have a problem at quarterback. Man, I haven't seen so many people bag me up. What I have said.
You finally got a fan club, John.
Yeah. Now
listen. Go ahead, Toddy.
My question real quick is, are you going to win for the 5th consecutive year the Matt Ryan Hater of the Year? You win it uncontested every single year. It's really no contest.
I have no choice. I'm gonna get it anyway. It's just like a birthright, because anytime I say, look, Titus got so bad that I would say, well, the offense didn't do too good. Why are you saying something about Matt Ryan? You always talking about Matt. I ain't even got to call the man name. You know, it might be somebody, because I was talking about the offensive line last week. Why are you talking about Matt Ryan? I'm talking about the offensive line. I said Hennessy wasn't blocking. I said Lindstrom wasn't blocking. I said McGarry missed the block. No. You trying to find some type of way to say something about Matt Ryan. That's what you doing. And okay, fine. Well, what did Matt do? Now, well, yeah, since you want to bring it up, what did he do? You know, the Joker can't throw up if he had a stomachache. You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, I mean, that's the way it is. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I've been telling you for a long time that I was seeing flaws. I was seeing things that just wasn't sitting right, especially about the arm strength. Now, y'all thought it was bad last year on back. You're seeing the total degradation of that Bugs Bunny arm, the one that be flapping in that cartoon. You seeing it. You're seeing it now. Now, and I mean, you look, man, you got Kyle Pitts out there. You drafted this man with this great big wingspan, with this speed, and you can't get him the ball on a fly route. Why did you draft him? You may as well have kept and made Hayden Hurst into something, and took that quarterback, of which you had a choice of 10 at least, and put him on the bench, far away from Matt Ryan. Just as far away as you can get him, you know. So, hey, man, I'm just saying.
And here's the thing, and I hear him talking about the Matt Ryan hater thing, but it's so funny. I've had the man to my house to watch a game. I've had the man at a football game to watch a game, and this man is by far the biggest Falcon. No, the biggest. I'm a Falcon fan, but I wish number 2 never existed fan in the history of this world. So when people listen to him talk about, you know, the Falcons, it's not against the Falcons. This man is just all about Matt Ryan. Now, I have had to defend Matt Ryan for those first few years. Because listen, he could sit out and talk all the junk he wants to. And this used to be he and our biggest argument when we first started talking about this stuff. You could criticize Matt, but it was nowhere near between 2008 and 2016. It was kind of hard to criticize Matt then. Matt was putting up stats. Matt was doing what he was doing. I think what you're seeing now is you're seeing what New Orleans was seeing out of Drew Brees the last couple of years, with the exception of our defense may not be at the level of the Saints. But if you think about New Orleans, if New Orleans had 2010 Drew Brees on the last couple of Saints teams, do you think they would have won the Super Bowl?
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
You don't think so? The 2010 Drew Brees?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying if they had the last few years Brees on the 2000.
Oh no! If they had the 2010 Drew Brees on the 2018-19 Saints, would they win?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the difference between the 2009-10 is that defense was ranked like 25th, 26th in the league, and they still won. And when Brees got old, he finally got a top-tier elite defense. So that was really what he was only missing during his prime years, is not having that defense that they've assembled these last 5 years. Because at one point, the Saints defense used to be just as bad as ours. But I will say this, Steve. When you say we're seeing with Matt what we saw from Brees the last few years, I would still say Drew was leaps and bounds better, because Drew Brees could still put up points. The arm strength wasn't there, but he still could throw touchdowns. You know,
That's true.
Brees is still having years where he have like 25, 26, 28 touchdowns, and he don't play with 11 or 12 games a season. So
Fair.
that was a huge difference. Like, for example, in 2019, Drew Brees started 11 games, had 27 touchdowns. Drew Brees started 12 games in 2020, had 24 touchdowns. Matt don't even be hitting those numbers in 16 games. Brees still behind the end zone.
How many times has Matt hit 30?
3?
Because he hit 30 the MVP year, right?
Yeah, 3 years, 2012, 2016, 2018.
Yeah. Now the championship, okay. Now the NFC Championship game year, they were good. You know, and Ryan, okay.
All right, first of all, stop forming your mouth to act like you were giving Matt Ryan credit in 2016. Don't even try. If you're going to sit here and lie to the folks, don't even sit there and try to lie and act like you were on Matt Ryan's back. I sat there, you and I at work on the phone, and you would dog out Matt, even during the MVP season. Tiny, don't listen to this man. This man credibility is zero. Okay, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Were you enamored with Matt during the Super Bowl year?
Look, 2016, I was looking at what Ryan was doing, and at the end of the year when he won the MVP, I posted a picture up. Congratulations, Matt Ryan MVP. I posted a picture up. Then when he won the NFC Championship game, I put a picture up. Congratulations, you're now the best quarterback in Atlanta Falcons history. I put it up there, Steve. I had to admit it because the stats. So, however, Matt Ryan has been a good quarterback for this team. I want him great because remember the Super Bowl year? Everybody was pushing him up there to elite level. Everybody was pushing him up there to elite level. Okay, right there, you were elite. You were good because that 2016 season keeps going. I mean, everything wrong and right about this team points back to 2016. 2016 is our Waterloo moment, okay? When it got to the top and when it started going down. 2016 is the pinnacle of Atlanta Falcons history, statistically, game-wise, accomplishment-wise. Okay,
but you can't go back, John. That's my point. I think, and I know I was starting on another point, but you can't go back. I think that's what, when we start talking, I think we were talking about denial the other day when I was talking. I think it was Amari I was talking to. There are fans that still feel like, and Toddy, jump in with me on this one. When you there are fans that still think that the Matt Ryan on the field September of 2021 is still the Matt that was under Kyle Shanahan's system in 2016. And in fairness to what John was saying, I think that's where the disconnects come. They are still people smoking the joint of 2016, realizing that the high has left. Now all you're smoking is and not that I know anything about this paraphernalia, I was just using that.
You know enough.
I don't. But I'm just saying that you're picking up the same cigarette, but you're not getting the same high. Smoking
real bread.
Yeah, that I'm not saying that. But do you understand what I'm saying, Tiny, from that standpoint? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense because you see me in the group, Steve. I go to war with them at least 10 times a week, and I try to explain that to people. Like, I hate to say he's washed, but that's not the same quarterback that he was in 2016. Like, that time has left. That was a gift and a curse for the Falcons because a lot of the Falcons fans and the Falcons front office think that's still the quarterback. And I think the first 3 games, some people are kind of starting to finally open their eyes wide enough to see, like, hey, this guy has really the skill level is no longer there. The athletic ability that he had is no longer there. It's like, because when you talk to some people, they what? All he needs is an O-line. All he needs is a running game. All he needs is a defense. Just like today, like, well, the wide receivers dropping passes. It's like, guys, like, y'all want a perfect football team. That does not exist on no level of football. Pee-wee, middle school, high school, college, NFL. You're not going to have every component of your team perfect. That's why you pay a guy, or that's why you thought you pay a guy $100 million over 5 years guaranteed, so he can make up for some deficiencies in the team that you have. So no, you're not going to have the Cowboys of 1995 offensive line. No, you're not going to have Barry Sanders in his best year when he had 2,000 yards. No, you're not going to have Julio and Roddy White in their prime every year. No, you're not going to have a prime Travis Kelce on the team. You're not going to have Warren Sapp, John Randall, Lawrence Taylor, Ed Reed on your defense. People be wanting this team to be perfect in every single component, and it's not going to happen. Then you tell them, well, how you going to build an offensive line of defense and the quarterback always get all the money? Well, he the quarterback, Well, okay. Well, if you want him to get all the money and all the fame and all the glory, he got to do way more than anybody else on the team do. He got to lift this team. Now, we're not saying you got to win the game by yourself, but you got to be able to make up for deficiencies. You're not going to have Bill Walsh, Bill Parcells as your coach. They want everything perfect, and there's never going to be a perfect team. Great players do great things. Good and average players do good and average things, and people cannot separate the two. It's a real fine line there. People be trying to walk that line and straddle that line. It don't equate, man. It don't equate at all.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm gonna let some of the comments come in here because people are coming in fast on what you were saying. 2 things on the other side. Christian says, "Say it, bro. Matt is washed up like that Tide commercials he's in." Joseph says, "Matt has been a good game manager, but you can't put this team on his shoulder to get you over the top." My brother, let me try this. Eldrick, how you doing, Eldrick? Eldrick says, "When are we going to address the obvious that these tight ends and wide receivers have to slow down and stop their routes to catch a pass?" Clayton, what's going on, Clayton? I hadn't seen you today, brother. Clayton says, "Some people's problem is they look at Matt and think he's Drew Brees," which is, I don't know how they come up with that. Dre says, "Dean Pease has them relax like he's the coach. The Ravens is not the same team. Good buddy, our defense needs more work."
What?
I don't know.
Man.
Lisa says, LOL. She talking about the joke that Tidy told about marijuana. He knows I put that off on you, Tidy, for legal reasons. So I put that.
I smoke cigars, Steve. I smoke legal cigars. And they feel legally over the counter.
Exactly. Look. Lisa says, Matt has been serviceable, but I think we can agree that he's not the Matt of 2016. I still want more offensive production. And my brother Jeffrey Lanier Jones, how you doing, sir? He said that's a good point, Tidy. I'm gonna get back to these posts for a couple of seconds because I realized we were probably getting a little bit more into the 4 o'clock games. I just wanted to go to the post on our group. And here's one from Trayvon Thomas. He said, "It must suck to be a Falcon fan, and you can't even enjoy the win because you, a Matt Ryan hater. Find a new team." These are one of those posts that I love to kind of answer back at times because one of the things that Mr. Thomas doesn't realize is that the majority or 90% of the people that are here in this group are real fans. And sometimes instead of throwing roses on you for a win that you snuck out and got. The rest of us are trying to think about game 15, 16, and 17, where we might have a chance to do something with the team that's progressing. We're not going to sit here and try to act like Matt Ryan is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league because of a game that he barely scored 17 points. I don't know. Am I off base, John?
You know, I couldn't see who it was that wrote that, but that sounds like something Trayvon would write, and he's addressing that directly at me. He's addressing that directly at me, and I'm going to address this directly to Trayvon. Look, good coaches take a look at games to see how you won and to see how you lost. When they spot things in the win that do not appear to their liking, they gonna hang foot in rear end of the people who did it or didn't do it. Good fans do the same thing. Yes, it's a W. You put that in the column. You put that in the column. This is week 3. Week 3. All right. Week 3. We went against another 0-2 team and looked like an 0-2 team doing it. We were fortunate. That interception, now, okay. There were some people that were saying that, Bill Parcells would have loved to have drafted Matt Ryan. Tell you what, Matt Ryan throw a duck off his back foot like that, flinging it in the end zone when you're trying to tie up a game and it's an intercepted. What do you think Bill Parcells would do? Bill Parcells, man, look here. He's still cussing now. I see he's still cussing now. You know, when you look at games and see stuff like that, if you do it in that situation, you're going to do it in other situations because you're comfortable doing it. Matt Ryan has been doing that so long that he's comfortable doing that. See, you cannot make mistakes if those are mistakes and not habits. You can't have habits like that. You can't have mistakes like that. Because say you get in a Super Bowl and do something like that and the game is on the line, everybody in the world sees that. Everybody sees that. They criticize that. What the hell kind of coaching? What the hell kind of quarterback? What the hell kind of team do you have? They pay you too much money to be doing stupid things like that on the football field. So
let me jump in for you right quick. Give you a chance to breathe. Hold on one second. Let me get some other comments in here. Christian says, John is nailing every comment on Matt and the draft. It says, if we want to win the championship, Matt got to go. We won by default today, period. These are the thoughts of fans, so don't start jumping.
There he go.
To move on to a better situation. We get here. Christopher Foote says, you should be critical until we put that Lombardi up at Flowery Branch. It should always be ship or bust. No in between. That's why they play the game. Everything else is a failure. Lisa says, we're thinking about how we're going to fare against better teams and not the lowly Giants. I think that's a really good point that she brings up. When John was just talking a few minutes ago about some of the mistakes that he made, including the almost interception when he's throwing, remember, 14-year-old vet throwing off his off foot and fluttering that ball up in the air where it was should have easily been intercepted. This is what Lisa is talking about. We've got to do better. The Giants should basically be practice for us going into other teams going into the season. That's the fairness when you start talking about people. You know, again, I never intended on this to be the Matt Ryan hate show, and that's not what it is. But I think when people are saying this, we're trying to think of, yeah, we lucky we won that one, but let's get into the next game. Remember, Marcus was talking about it earlier. When we beat Kansas City going back to 2016, and yes, we flash back because those are better times. When we made that run, the thing about our team then is we didn't beat teams. we destroyed teams. We beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And even in the playoffs, up until that forgettable fourth quarter in Houston, we destroyed teams when we were supposed to destroy teams. Seattle was not on our level. Green Bay was not on our level. And for 3 quarters, Tom Brady was not on our level. You beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. I can't the win today. I celebrate it as, yes, we won Falcons, but please don't say that buys Matt Ryan another week. No, Matt's got to be better. And I did notice something today, and I put a post about it. Felipe Franks was active this week on the roster. We'll see if that goes.
He played one play.
You know what? He did. And I forgot. And listen, I believe, think about this. I think going into the bag of Sean Payton, going into the bag of Chicago before Andy Dalton got hurt, you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot more of them saying, let's take these athletic guys and put them to work. We got an undrafted free agent quarterback that we can put in for a play or two and spell our late 30s quarterback some wear and tear of 1 or 2 plays. We have to stop thinking about if we want to be better, if we want to be that 9-18, this team right here is not going to beat Tampa Bay later down the line. Judging by Carolina, this team is not going to beat Carolina. Judging by what I've seen right here, we can't beat Dallas because you're not going to be able to score with Dallas if we can't score. We have to get better. We can't sit here and act like this is just normal. That Matt Ryan, look at his numbers. He got 2 touchdowns. Yay, Matt Ryan. We can't do that. I don't think we can. Defense says, let me see what this is. Defense says, oh, come on, Steve. Clayton says, defense says we need to practice man coverage. They I can't say what that said. They just us with short and gap routes. Offense need to find more schemes to get in the end zone, use the weapons. Little Z saw the opening and looked like he yelled at Ryan to throw there. That probably was it. Aaron says, glad we won the good day, but there's still a lot of improvements needed on both sides of the ball. You see that same narrative. We won, but we want to do better. Who is this? This is Rashad says, Rashad says a win is a win. Get over it. Now here's the thing, Rashad. You're absolutely right about the win. The win is a win, but at the same time, brother, if you think that effort right there is going to get us a winning record, I got some magic beans I can sell you down at the flea bar. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, my apologies. When I see something like that, a win is a win, get over it. I would like to ask that person, do you think Arthur Smith went into the locker room and just adorned that team with nothing but praise and, y'all played wonderful, y'all did great? Do you think when they go in the film room on Monday and Tuesday, Arthur Smith and the coach is going to tell them how great they are and what an excellent game they played and y'all are on the way to the Super Bowl? Do you think the coaching staff for the Falcons are not going to, point out the things that they did wrong, their mistakes, their mishaps? Like, hey, God, we were fortunate to win this. I mean, we look at it just like the coaching staff look at it. Of course, the coaching staff isn't going to do that. They're going to tell them about all the mistakes that they made. Hey, you missed a guy here. You missed his read. You missed his tackle. We're out of place here. So we're doing the same thing that the Falcons coaching staff would do. We're happy that we won. We're elated. We ain't won in almost a year. But we look at things that this team did wrong, and we still see a team that is not very good right now. So of course we get on here and we put our heads and minds and eyes together and we talk about ways that maybe the team can improve. So, and that's what we're doing. Hey, this is a social media group. We come in here to talk and analyze and critique and be fanatical.
Now I see it's Rashad and I see a couple of his comments, and I love it because I love because again, none of us when we're talking, we're not asking for your approval or your vote to agree with us. We're just giving our analysis as football guys. So let me get on here and give him these last two comments from him. He says, hold on, John. He says, y'all kill me with this talk about the game-winning drive. And then he goes on to say, and I'm sure he's replying to my comment, how is playing a pro team is like practicing these guys. These guys are in the NFL for a reason. You got to put some punctuation in there because I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here's something good. Now, Rashad, if you got your messenger link, I love to talk to you because everything that you just said, and when you say y'all kill me with talk about the game-winning drive, obviously the game-winning drive was only 2 plays. There's 1 play to Cordero and 1 play to Kyle Pitts. So I don't think that that's a whole lot to talk about. But I'm never going to be satisfied with just this. We won the game. We beat a bad team today. We beat a real bad team today. And if you want to beat your chest over it, that's fine. I'm going to celebrate. It's a win. But let's not pretend like that was something to be super proud of. Yeah, you got the defense that played okay. But come on now. Calm down with that. Hey, if you want to get in here, let me know because I love to hear your comments on that. Let me know. Go ahead, John. I apologize for stifling.
Oh, no. Come on in here, son. We need to have us a fireside chat about that. We need to have a fireside chat because, see, look, I look at, and see, the thing is, I look at New England. I look at New England during their championship runs. When they won a game week by week by week, they weren't, nor were their fans celebrating, acting like they'd never been here before, acting like they were so desperate to have a win that they turning over cars. We going to the Super. No, it got to the point that they were so good that it was business-like. No emotion. Okay, we won. Who we playing next week? Such and such. Okay, we got to beat them. Now they in the stands cheering, they complaining, they doing all this type of stuff, but it's a situation where they are just surgical. The fans as well as the team. That's where we are supposed to be here with the Falcons. I don't care who you put out there on the field. That's where we're supposed to be with the Falcons. That's where I am as a fan. Okay? I'm looking at and being critical about things that we can do better. The biggest room in the world, I was always told, is the room for improvement. Okay? You've got to continue to press the envelope. Whenever I would hear in the preseason, I hear this all during the time. Mike Smith was here all during the time. Shanahan was here. Everybody. Well, we don't want to show our offense because we don't want nobody to know what we doing. New England don't give a damn about what you see because next week it's going to be different. Right. Next week we're going to change it. Next week we're going to do something else. You may see this formation, but we're going to do something else out of it. It's always innovation on offense, innovation on defense. I remember one time, and I have to use New England as an example because they were the 800-pound gorilla in the room for a long time. You know, they declared in one game against the Ravens, I never will forget it. They declared one tight end as an ineligible receiver. But everybody was so used to the man playing, they kept checking him anyway. And New England was weighing him out because they kept checking that man because he acted like he was going out for a pass. But they declared that man ineligible. It's innovation. It's constant improvement. It's constant pressing the envelope that you got to do as a pro football team because there are no teams that can line up against each other and just beat each other's brains in anymore. That's over with. You've got to strategize. You've got to innovate. You've got to be different. You've got to be on the cusp of of the wave. You got to be on the cusp of the wave. You know, you can't settle. You cannot settle. I'm hearing feedback.
No. It's go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh
no, you actually got sidetracked by something. Keep going.
Yeah, you know,
you heard your voice back and it didn't appeal to you, did it? Something. Now you see what the 92.9 people.
Just in case you didn't know it, that's my friend Steve right there. You know, if you y'all never been introduced, that's my friend Steve right there. Just in case you didn't know. the old knee, always give me the needle.
Oh, okay. So listen, Rashad, I'm trying to give you a link, bro, because I see you coming in now. You just said all fan bases are different. I want you. I would love for you to come and holler at us, brother. If you got time, let me know, because and like I said, this is not about bashing. I would really want to hear what you're saying. Sometimes when you start texting, it gets lost in the thing. Cedric Thomas comes in. Cedric says a win is a win, true enough, but unfortunately we had to struggle to barely beat a miserable Giants team. This dink and dunk offense is not going to beat too many other teams. Cedric is giving us pretty much the synopsis of the average Falcon fan. I think this is it right here. I think he's saying, I'm happy for the win, but I'm not satisfied. I'm paraphrasing. That's not satisfied. We didn't beat Tampa Bay. We didn't beat with the Rams. The Rams kind of putting it on Tampa. We didn't beat those guys. I'm sitting over here. I'm just like you, Todd. I'm sitting over here looking.
Wait, man. Let me cut this on. What's the scope?
Looking back and forth. We didn't beat a juggernaut. We beat a team. So let me know. Let me know if you can shoot in real quick. Our buddy Rusty is on here. Buddy Rusty, how you doing, man? Said not much to say. Nice to finally get the dub. This performance didn't impress me. Hope this will springboard them mentally. This is you know, and that's Rusty. Rusty is always in the Falcons camp. Again, we're Falcon fans. We're happy to get off the schneid, but we can't sit here. I want one of those. I want one of them wins where I can go into another group and start talking junk. That's the win I want. I want a win that I can get in here and start getting into some other teams. You can't do it. You can't do it like that. I mean, so Michael Anderson said this is a Julio Jones hangover. And it could possibly be. I think, listen, it's obvious that Matt looks a lot, and Titus, speak to this because I know you got into it. I know you and Chauncey were talking about Julio a while ago, and I wanted to make and I enjoyed that interaction that y'all did. But Julio Jones, when he left this team, part of the identity of the Atlanta Falcons for the last decade left this team. So as much as the fanfare for Kyle Pitts was coming in, it's no doubt that we lost a big part of what the Falcons offense mean. Tell me, how much of that do you think affects Matt Ryan today?
I think a great deal of it affects Matt Ryan because the thing about Julio, man, when Julio was here, especially when those Julio prime years, man, you're talking about offensively probably the most dynamic player in the field during his heyday, man. And I know the quote unquote Julio haters, they'll always point at, well, he don't score touchdowns, but I always like to look at Julio Jones as like Magic Johnson. He may not score the basket, but he gonna get a guy to assist to score the basket. You see how hard it is for Calvin Ridley now that Julio ain't taking all that pressure and all them double teams and sometimes triple teams and bracket defenses. You see how hard it is for him? Ask Austin Hooper how easy was it for him to operate playing with Julio. Ask Jacob Tammany, you know. So that's the thing. And with that dynamic of Julio being gone, you can see it with this offense, Steve. That gives me a perfect opportunity, Steve, to give you my official stat of the day. My official stat of the day.
Oh!
Stat of the day.
I got music. I got music. It's the stat of the day. Hey, it's the stat of. Come on, John, help me. It's the stat of the day.
Society is the stat of the day.
I don't know who was worse.
Nobody. but here it is. After today's game, the Falcons now are averaging 16 points per game scoring offense. We went into this game needing 27 points total to avoid having our worst offensive output since Matt Ryan has been in Atlanta. We failed to reach that goal by 10 points. So through the first 3 games of this year, this is the lowest amount of points the Atlanta Falcons have scored during the Matt Ryan era.
Oh, that's deep. I mean that, and the one thing Matt has been known for during this year is for everybody who has been so critical about the defense has always been bad. The defense has always been bad. That was the one thing that you could at least count on for Matt was offensive production. And now that you're seeing he's not helping to lead that, let's tell an honest question. What is he going to be good for? And I'm saying him, it's a collective group. He can't do it by himself. But the one thing when you went into every game, anytime they did the little promos at the beginning, Matt Ryan and a high-powered Atlanta Falcons offense. Matt Ryan, he'll put up some points. Matt Ryan, 4,000 yards, 30,000 years in a row. I'm exaggerating. But you know what I mean.
Right.
Without that now, Tidy, John, without that now, what is Matt Ryan for us? What is he?
He's a egregiously overpaid quarterback. That's what he is. I know some of the people ain't going to like to hear that, but he's egregiously, I got to bring out my T.I. big words, egregiously overpaid. That's what he is, man. Egregiously overpaid quarterback and quite honestly, outdated. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Right. Hey.
Long.
Hey.
He's
Hey,
an
man.
egregiously overpaid statue. Because
Right.
hey, Steve, this is where you end up. This is where you end up. Stuck.
Like Chuck.
You can't move. There's only so much dink and dunk you're gonna do, just like somebody was saying. There's only so much dink and dunk you're gonna do. Because everybody, all right, there are people also asking why we can't run. Everybody on the line of scrimmage because your quarterback can't throw accurately past 15 to 20 yards, so you can't run either. They already up there. You got to push them back with something deep. You got to get the safeties off the line. You got to get the cornerbacks back in coverage. Julio did that just by being on the field. Because no matter what duck Matt Ryan threw, they knew Julio could make gasoline out of goat piss. They knew he could do it. Balls thrown behind him, balls thrown in the dirt, balls thrown above him. If Julio could get it, he could get it. Now, those passes thrown right to him, he'll drop them. He'll drop them all day long. Because, he wasn't used to getting them like that. He ain't used to getting them like that. But all of those odd passes, all of those crazy passes, no matter how it came to him, Julio being on the field let you have the luxury of a Hayden Hurst, a Calvin Ridley, a Russell Gage getting open. Because Julio getting double and triple teams on the other side of the field. He getting double and triple teams on the other side of the field. So look, there's a reason why that man was in the NFL top 100 this year, because all of his opponents knew how dangerous Julio was when he was on the field. Everybody knew.
I just think that's I don't know. That's just amazing to me. I'm going down some of these comments. Thank y'all for commenting on some of these things right here. Say one of the improvements. I'm trying to see who this is. Ooh, I don't know who this is. One improvement I would like to see is the cornerbacks pressing the receivers off the line and stop giving up 5-10 yards off the ball. And keep in mind they were hurting today at the cornerback position. I'm not making excuses for them, but listen, we gave up 14 points. The average NFL game, you give up 14 points, you should be on the right side of the win column. So they gave up 14. They definitely need some work back there, but without their number one guy, it's going to be hard for me to criticize a lot of what they did today. Defense gave up 14 points. Lisa says, right, I miss our offense production. Leland says, this is the first time Matt has not had a top receiving core in his career, and it showed. It's like he has no trust in the receivers. That could be legitimate. Cedric says, group just got blasted. What group just got blasted?
What happened? What's where the blast?
I'm trying to see what he's talking about. What you talking about, Cedric? Come back with me. We're already at the bottom. The question is, can Matt push us up? If not, bring in the next quarterback. So Matt Ryan is the wife that's sending you to the poorhouse if you want to get rid of her, but you've been married too long. I see you gonna break up some marriages in here, Steven. Don't be coming in here. Don't be coming in here messing it up for fellas, man. That comparing Matt Ryan to marriages, that'll mess us up.
Well, ask you. You know she gonna ask you.
Right. We're still in fix the Falcon mode. Committee meeting at 8:00. That's Lisa coming in. Oh man. Somebody saying fabulous point, John. I don't know who that is. Let me see. Rusty says, surprised. There we go. Surprised a stand-up character like Matt never took a team-friendly deal. Say what you want about Tampa Bay, but that's why he's the GOAT. Never even wanted to come close to ever being the highest paid. I don't ever want to talk about another man's finances. It's your legacy that's on the line. Before you give all the roses to Tom Brady on those contracts, there's a story that went way underneath the radar about him, and I don't know about this. Remember, they were talking about a foundation that they had that might have been given some money to
that undercover that undercover.
And the $15 million contracts that Tom Brady was signing, there was a rumor that money was going in another channel, so they kind of circumvented worrying about paying his salary because I don't know if y'all remember that story, and I'm sure it's somebody. I'm sure it's somewhere, but
I remember. And see, it's par for the course for Boston sports. Okay, it's par for the course for Boston sports. They were funneling money to Tom Brady through their charity the same way they do laundering money. Okay, and they were paying Tom Brady money. We don't know how much it was, but it was money that was going uncounted due to a loophole, technicality, or whatever. Right. It's just like the Boston Celtics used to cut the heat on in Boston Garden whenever Kareem and them came up there. It's just like the Pine Tar incident. It's just like the filming that they were doing of other teams, and when they got caught, hey man, all that type of stuff. It's just par for the course. See, but I'm jealous we didn't think of it. Okay, I'm mad we didn't think. Come on, man.
Tidy, you were talking a little earlier about the Jets and being ready to play them, and I understand your eagerness. Jets are getting beat 20-0 right now by the Denver Broncos, who by any stretch, I don't call them a great team. at all. So I look forward. You look at this schedule coming up, folks. We can make some hay with some of this stuff. You're talking about Washington football team. You're talking about the New York Jets overseas. You're talking about Carolina, who at 3-0, but will be missing McCaffrey by the time we play them. Those are some teams that I think, I think we can beat. I think we can beat. So we'll see. Cedric Thomas comes in and says, Mike Bryan is a one-trick pony who's going to drop straight back, and pass rush knows exactly where to find him. He's going to eyeball one receiver, and if he's not open to play, is dead. Lisa says John Harris's takes weren't horrible today. Great job. Now, if you're getting compliments from Lisa, either Lisa's drinking or you telling some truthful stuff today. So I get
Lisa drink.
Yeah, Lisa got to be drinking. So let's make sure we put the APB out on Lisa and see where she is. Because right now she giving out compliments to John.
Put the air quotes.
Jeffrey says, now that we have Washington and the Jets in the next 2 games before the bye, do you think we should win those games if we adjust the offensive line and the defensive production? Listen, I'm not gonna listen, again, the offensive line thing. I'm not telling you we've arrived, but I've seen improvement from game 1. Did anybody even mention Jalen Matthews today? Did anybody mention anybody on the offensive line today? That's a great sign that your offensive line is moving in the right direction, because think about the sacks that Matt took. Now, there were a couple of breakdowns later on where Matt did, get pressured quite a bit. But I look at a lot of those plays, especially in the first half and in the third quarter, Matt had a pocket. Matt could have stepped up and did what he did. So, I mean, I don't know, Tyler, did you see? And I think I asked you this earlier, but for those who are just coming in, did you see at least progress in the offensive line and what they did for Matt?
I saw a lot of progress. Again, I don't know what some of these people want from the offensive line, man. It's like, what do y'all expect? You know what I'm saying? What you want them to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never gonna be like a total perfect pocket. You're never gonna block perfectly for 4 quarters of a football game. I mean, you got to ask your signal caller to be more dynamic, to make plays. I counted some plays where you had a 4 or 5, sometimes a 6-second pocket. The offensive line they were fine today. They were totally fine today. The defense, they allowed 17 points. I'm sorry, 14 points. Excuse me.
14
points. So
yeah.
What else you want them to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what?
So here's a perfect example of why in Atlanta we are. And I'm sorry, John, I didn't mean to do this, because as you see, I'm keep turning over here. Matthew Stafford right now, the same defense that we played last week, and not to say that Matt didn't have his chances against this team. Matt is out. Matt Stafford.
He cutting them up.
20 for 30, 240 yards. 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. And I know we've been on for probably about 2 hours, so we're getting ready to probably break out in the next week, minute or so. But I'm just looking at Matt again, throwing another pass, and Cooper Kupp getting into the end zone again. And these are the things when you start talking about Matt Stafford got drafted 1 year. I'm sorry, 1 year is not going to make that much of a difference to me. Matt Stafford has thrown 4 touchdowns against no interceptions against the same defense we played last week. You can't tell me quarterback play doesn't make a difference. Look at that pass, Tidy. Look at this pass that he threw. Look at that pass he threw to him. And I see you looking at the same thing. And tell me, if our team does that, tell me would we be a better team if we had that type of quarterback play?
Much better. Much better.
I've been telling you. But one thing about it, Matt Stafford has always had that arm. He's always had that arm. And he had Megatron. He had that arm and had Megatron. But that wasn't enough. See, Detroit, they had a good passing game with a number one receiver. Megatron was getting the better shine than Julio was getting because of how dominant Megatron was. And Matt Stafford has had that gun. Now, the Los Angeles Rams are now a very dangerous team because you see what they're doing to the world champs. You see what they're doing to the world champs with that quarterback, with that arm. And now
I think they're doing to the world champs what we could have done to the world champs. Again, with that, the defense that they're showing right now is probably that's kind of embarrassing for us. Look, y'all, I know we kept y'all. I'm looking on here. We kept y'all for about 2.5 hours, and I know we celebrated the win, and we kind of started diving off into the nether regions of hate them, which is we didn't want to do. But again, just glad to see y'all coming up in here. I know, Toddy, we have been talking about trying to do so. I don't know if we're gonna get together tomorrow night with the admins. We'll see if we do. I'm sure he'll post it and let y'all know. The incomparable, the irreplaceable, the can't duplicate him, John Harris. We appreciate you, brother, joining us today in the forum, brother. Speechless?
Oh, I'm happy. Go 18.
He's not used to taking compliments. That would have been
that too, because see, I got knives all in my back. Some of them from you. But at any rate, it was a pleasure to get together with you guys. I'll be posting something soon. I don't know what time it'll be, but I'll be posting something. I look forward to you guys tomorrow. You, Toddy, you, Steve, Marcus, Quintez, Hope, everybody. Like Marcus said, hey, I watch everybody's content just to see, angles, various things that I might have missed, whatever, because I do miss some things. But like I said, pleasure, guys. See y'all next week. Hopefully we can get 2-2. Oh, I don't know.
Hey, haven't been 500 since 2017, folks. 2017. Again, y'all be good, man. Have a blessed day. We'll catch up with y'all later on. Falcons win 17-14. Atlanta Bird